Hello, 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 hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me go ahead and check all of my settings before we get started tonight. So let me check the tube of you and the book of face to make sure everything is good audio wise and visual wise because you never know. Sometimes I prattle on and don't realize that I'm broadcasting correctly, and then I have to scrap everything. And I don't want to do that naturally. Why would I do that? All right. Let's see. Yeah, looking good on the tube of you. Hopefully, looking good on the book of face as well. Give me 1 second. And then we will do our regular intro, and I will talk about what the topic is for tonight's episode. But if you've already read the description or the title on the two of you, you know what we're talking about tonight. So no worries. Yes, good. Let's see. Yeah, everything looks good in both places, thankfully. Hooray, hooray, hooray. All right, I will be back in about 20 seconds, and introductions are in order. Okay. All right. Welcome, 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 everybody, once again to Tarot by Hilary Live. I am your hostess with the mostest, Hilary of tarotbyhilary.com, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because, yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. And am I going to hold my microphone for this entire episode? Probably not. I'll see how I feel. I've been seeing a lot of people doing videos lately with their tiny, tiny mics that they've bedazzled or bejeweled or what have you, or I don't know. And it's super cute. I love the aesthetic, but that doesn't work out very well when you've got a humongous blue snowball mic that usually is sitting propped up, but I don't have a lot of surface area to rest this on. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, tonight's episode is all about the Celtic Cross spread. It's a topic that someone requested a couple of weeks ago. And I don't know, like I was just like, oh, well, do I need to do some research or can I just teach it off on the fly, considering the Celtic Cross is one of my go-to tarot spreads. It's kind of like, other than the 3-card tarot spread, it's kind of my bread and butter, and I leave it up to my client as to choose which they want to do. 3 to 5 cards for each question if they have a lot of questions during their session, and depending, of course, on how much time they booked, or if they have one big question that they kind of feel will, I don't know. How do I describe this in such a way that makes sense and using words for a psychic thing? Um, when you have a situation and you feel it like intrinsically that it has many different, I don't know, webs or branches, or it's just like, I feel like it's my career. I need to know about my career, and I need the Celtic Cross because it'll give me a good snapshot, and it'll also tell me what other things, like here's the center of the web, and the center of the web is the career stuff, but here's everything that's tugging on that, or here's where the career is tugging on everything else. Does that make sense? I don't know if it makes sense, but that's kind of how I see the Celtic Cross spread, where it's a really great snapshot kind of reading, where you can get a good sense of many different things. And also, sometimes when you're sitting with someone and you're asking them to focus on their question or focus on the topic that you want clarity on, um, one of two things can happen. The first thing is they're focusing on everything and it makes for a very messy reading where you're just like, "Oh, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what the cards are trying to tell me," because they're trying to be helpful and answer pretty much everything that you had in the space of your mind when you were shuffling your cards. Or contrarily, you could be thinking about a lot of different things, and then the tarot will answer the biggest thing. Do you know what I mean? Like it plucks from out of the ether that one thing that you probably should be focused on first, and then the other things will follow. And I've seen when I use the Celtic Cross with clients or when I use the Celtic Cross with myself that it tends to really clarify things for me. It tends to really get me to focus on the things that matter and the things that I should immediately be focused on, and not sweat the small stuff so much. So that's what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the Celtic Cross, how I read the Celtic Cross. Your mileage may vary. There are many different variations to reading the Celtic Cross. I learned the Celtic Cross spread from, I believe it was the companion book or the little white book that came with Legend, the Arthurian Tarot. And that's, I think, where I got my positional meanings from. And since then, I was just like, what? Nobody, like, oh, doesn't everyone read position 6 the same way? Doesn't everyone read position 6 as the relationships position? It's just like, no, Hilary, they don't. They read it as the near future position. And I'm just like, oh, okay. So this has resulted in different conversations with different people. Like, I know that Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, has a wonderful blog series on the Celtic Cross. So I will try and pull up that link and provide that link for you so you can do further research into that. But she was asking a bunch of different people when she was writing that series, what do you see as the 10 or the 11 positional meanings in a Celtic Cross? And every different reader had a different answer. So no two readers saw the Celtic Cross or read the Celtic Cross in exactly the same way, which was really, really cool. Jenny says, thanks for doing this, Hilary. You're very, very welcome. I aim to please. I knew that someone asked for it. I just didn't remember who asked for it, but if you asked, this is your episode. But first, we have the pillars of the Tarot by Hilary live stream, which is the astro-weather from the Astrobiz Digest from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady, to start off the episode. In the middle of the episode, we have the topic at hand, talking about the Celtic Cross. Mid-episode, we have the mid-episode reading, where one lucky viewer will be eligible to win a 3-card reading from me live on the broadcast. When that happens, I will give you all of the instructions. And we do have some OGs here in the live stream watching live that will be able to guide you if it's your first time here participating in the mid-episode reading. And then finally, at the end of the episode, we will have the weekend forecast, which is a tarot card or oracle card pulled randomly, or as random as tarot or an oracle deck seldom is, to bring you into the weekend prepared and not scared. And by the way, spoiler alert for the weekend forecast, I have been doing some organization and going through some of my tarot decks. I don't know if you saw on the gram of Insta yesterday, I did a quick little live of an unboxing of an unboxing. The replay is available on my Instagram if you want to check it out. But I found a box of tarot decks that I hadn't yet opened from the move that happened 7 months ago, give or take a month. And so I was just like, let's take a peek in and see which decks are in here. And one or two of the decks were decks that I was looking for and wondering where the hell did I put them, because I wanted to use I wanted to use those decks. And we do have a question in the chat. Please, me, General. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Looks like Nihal. You're going to have to wait for the mid-episode reading, and it's not a guarantee that you will be read for. So wait for that. Wait for the mid-episode. But we do have some astrology coming up for you in a minute. So there were some decks that I was able to uncover and find, and I was just like, oh, that's where that was this entire time. So weekend forecast is going to be pulled from the Work Your Light Oracle deck by Rebecca Campbell with artwork by Danielle Noel. As you folks know, I usually go for the Starseed Oracle deck because that is the Oracle deck that I had closest to hand and that I didn't bury in a box. But I found her. I found the Work Your Light. So we're going to pull from this for the weekend forecast. All right, let's do some astrology from Teresa Reed's wonderful Astro Biz Digest. Let me go ahead and show that on screen here. So that this is a subscription service, $99 for the year for astrology in layman's terms, straight to your email inbox. The link will drop into the chat in a second. And let me go ahead and display that on screen, thetarolady.com/AstroBiz Digest. If you want to get a copy of it for yourself, it is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I have found it to be incredibly helpful in my own personal life. So check it out. I usually will give the general big transits that are going on for the week. And then we get into the nitty gritty for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because I want to give you just a taste of what Teresa is doing in her AstroBiz Digest, but not give away the farm, because that would be not cool. So let's see if I've got this. I was going to pull it up on my phone, but then I would have no free hands. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull it up on a separate tab on my computer right here. Perfect. So for the week of February 12th to the 18th of 2024, it's a busy week in the cosmos. 3 planets are changing signs and shifting gears. The best mindset is to adapt. So Mars enters Aquarius on the 13th or the 12th for folks west of the East Coast. Remember that all of these times are in Eastern Standard Time. This transit is for group leadership. How are you inspiring your community? What are you doing for the collective? This is your chance to shine bright and motivate. Aquarius is nonconformist, which means it's best to carve out your own path rather than follow the herd. Instead of going with what everybody else is doing, set the trends yourself. Be the industry leader. Innovative marketing, online activism, and gatherings are also excellent activities during this transit, which lasts until March 22nd. So from the 13th of February to March 22nd, we've got Mars in Aquarius. So Venus in Aquarius, which happens from the 16th through March 11th, you might be hearing the theme song of Why Can't We Be Friends? Woo more people into your orbit with friendly live streams, hello, or fun social media posts. Technology is the perfect way to connect. Speaking of which, this transit of Venus is ideal for purchasing new computers, software, or gadgets. If you need an upgrade, no more hemming and hawing, get it. Lastly, consider hosting events or gatherings online or off. Better yet, partner up with a peer. It could be beneficial for both of you, something Aquarius likes. Lastly, try to put a dinner date with your team on the calendar between February 16th through March 11th. It's always fun to break bread with your crew. Everyone with me so far? And Fran is also here. Hello, Fran. Happy Friday to you too. All right, finally, we're all in our feelings and creative urges when the sun enters Pisces on the 18th. This means you have many opportunities to connect with your community and your muses. Simply follow your heart and let empathy take the wheel. Keep in mind that the public will be more anxious and sensitive now. It's best to think before you put anything out there. How will this land? That's what you need to think about before you're putting anything out there. How will this land? Lastly, put plenty of self-care on your calendar to protect your energy. Boundaries can be blurry in Pisces season, so you must take great care of yours. Then the sun will zoom into Aries on March 19th. All right, so those are the big 3 transits that are going on this week. Are we ready for the nitty gritty of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Give me a hell yeah in the chat, and I'm going to try and hydrate and put my microphone down while I do so. Here's hoping that I don't knock everything over while doing so. Let's see. I've got my computer here. Oh, that'll actually work, I think. I hope. Oh. Is there anything better than cold water when you're thirsty? I don't think so. All right, Stephanie is here. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie says absolutely, so I'm going to go with that. All right, so Friday, today, Friday, February 16th. Capture the public's imagination with a creative marketing campaign when the moon sextiles Neptune at 7:55 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The more creative you are, the more likely you'll attract good attention. Taking an extended break is okay when the moon squares the sun and stations void at 10:01 a.m. No one is listening because the blowhards and wannabe dictators are loud and proud at that time. Ugh. At 11:05 a.m., Venus will be in Aquarius. We've already talked a little bit about that. The moon sets sail into Gemini at 2:39 p.m., the perfect lunation for communication, writing, newsletters, PR, and pitching the media. Today offers you 3 excellent spots for any of those activities. The Moon-Venus trine at 3:02 p.m., the Moon-Pluto trine at 4:11 p.m., and the Moon-Mars trine that hasn't happened yet at 7:56 p.m. All 3 aspects bode well for marketing your wares. So let the blitz begin. Once Mercury squares Uranus at 10:53 p.m., the energy becomes unpredictable. Conversations could turn stupid on a dime, and the news cycle might be disruptive. Close up shop and rest easy. Today, Friday, February 16th, is a power day for Taurus and a weak day for Scorpio. All right. Moving into Saturday and Sunday, Venus is conjunct with Pluto at 3:48 a.m., a potent aspect for original creative inspiration. It's here all weekend, so tap in and see what you can conjure up. Inspire the public with a healing newsletter or live stream presentation when the moon sextiles Chiron at 9:18 p.m. It's a lovely way to end your Saturday. Sunday starts off with the moon trine Mercury at 6:22 a.m., a delicious aspect for sending out newsletters. Take a break when the moon squares Neptune at 3:28 p.m. The energy is distracted then, so marketing efforts won't land. At 10:25 p.m., the moon paddles into sensitive Cancer, which means emotions are elevated, both the public's and your own. This is followed by the sun's entry into Pisces at 11:13 p.m., another emo transit. And we've already talked about the sun moving into Pisces. The best plan for Sunday evening is self-care. Work can wait until Monday. Both days, Saturday and Sunday, are power days for Gemini and weekdays for Sagittarius. All right. So at this time, before we move into the main topic that I'm teaching tonight, I want to open up the floor and ask if people have questions about the astrology for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. I will take a quick peek-see at the AstroBiz Digest and let you know if Tuesday was a little bit weird. Maybe there's an astrological reason why. And then we'll move into talking about the Celtic Cross. I'm wondering if I have screenshots that I can use to illustrate the Celtic Cross. That probably would be a little bit easier for people to see. Let me look while I'm waiting. I'm going to put my microphone down over here. And hopefully it won't tip over. Ah, found it. Definitely an old version of it. Let's see. No. I don't need it to be full screen. Thank you very much. Just need it to be readable. Work. Okay. And hello to Elizabeth. Is that who I think it is? Is that my bestie? I'm not sure. I can barely see the kitties, but I have a feeling it might be. So did anyone have any questions about the astrology from this week? Yes, no, maybe so. If not, that is totally fine. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and see if we can pull up. Oh, okay. Elizabeth is new here. You just the same first name as my bestie. Welcome to Elizabeth. Let's see. Oh, cool. I think I can do that. Yes, cool. All right, let me shut this. And let me show this. All right, can we all see that? Hopefully we can. All right. So tonight we're talking about the Celtic Cross spread, and hopefully you guys can still hear me, even though my microphone is a little off to the sides. And please, if there is, looks like there's spamming going on, which pisses me off, and that is not what I'm about. So please go ahead and ignore that. If someone is messaging you, it is not what I'm all about. And yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and put my moderator hat on as I'm trying to teach at the same time. Spam, submit, block, block. And let me just double check that. Sorry for the interruption. Okay. I think I got that. All right, good. And Jenny says, yes, can hear you. Fantastic. All right, great. So this is what you're seeing on screen is a chapter from my book, How to Read Tarot, that was published in November of 2022. And so there's an entire chapter from my book on the 11 card Celtic Cross. Now, you can choose whether or not your Celtic Cross is 11 cards or 10 cards. So I gave the option in both cases. Yeah. I will show that. I'm not going to show the comment that elicited it, but I will show this comment. Funny how we all have the same problem. Yeah, that's how spammers work. That is how spammers work. Ugh, hate it. Hate it. No shame in the game if you're a legitimate reader and you follow my work and, you're here to learn and everything and you're here to network. Like, that's fine. But, like, don't go and do what that person did. It's just not cool. It's not cool. And no legitimate reader is going to do that. Period. End of discussion. Anyway, there's an entire episode, by the way, on scammers, spammers, and charlatans from the live stream. Replays are available of all of my live streams over the last 4 years that I've been doing them. So you may want to check out that episode if you're wondering why I get so ornery about that kind of thing. Anyway, so this is a chapter in my book, How to Read Tarot, and you can choose the Celtic Cross that is either a 10-card spread or an 11-card spread. Now, if you're choosing an 11-card Celtic Cross, that would be if you intentionally choose a significator card, which is, I don't know, did we do an episode on some significators? We might have done it on Card Slingers Coast to Coast. For those of you who are listening, that are Card Slingers listeners, like you guys, like we were just recording an episode of Card Slingers today, and I was just like, I don't know, like I'm kind of intimidated by our listeners because they know our episodes better than we do, which is like really awesome and really intimidating at the same time. They're just like, no, episode 25 is this, and you guys said this, and it's just like, oh my God, like, oh no. Oh no, someone's looking at me. Oh no, someone's listening to me. But I know I do rely sometimes on that treasure trove of knowledge that you guys have for our episodes, where it's just like, did we do an episode on significators? You guys would know better than me because I would have to go back and look. I don't think I did a live stream episode on significators, but I'm pretty sure Card Slingers did a podcast episode on significators. Now, I am not a reader that really reads with significators. I like the tarot to guide me in that way. Sorry, I have to take off my socks. My feet are like starting to sweat as I'm working and as I'm teaching. That's just what happens sometimes. So The significator card is something that is chosen intentionally from the deck to represent the client or the person that's getting the reading. That's what a significator is. A really, really short description or definition of what a significator is. So the Celtic Cross spread, you can do it one of two ways. You can do an 11 card Celtic Cross where you intentionally choose a significator based on the person's personality. Sometimes it's based on the person's physical features. Sometimes it's based upon that person's astrological sign or age. There's a bunch of different ways to choose a significator. And so that would be the very first card that you would put down before you put down what I think is the first card of the reading, which is the situation or the present situation, the reason d'etre, the reason why you're sitting in the client chair asking for the reason. Like that to me is card number one, not the significator card, because I don't read with significators. I never have read with significators. I don't see the point, because usually the tarot, even from a random pull, or as random as tarot seldom is, the tarot will tell me everything that I need to know in that first card, which is the current situation. Does that make sense? And if it's like a person if it's a person that is the problem or the center of the reading, other than the client sitting there, it's usually going to be a major card or a court card to represent, like, hey, this is the person that's causing the problems for you, or this is the person that you have that question about. Like if there's bam, if there's a court card, I will describe that person's personality, and I'll be like, is this person a part of the situation that you were asking about or thinking about in your mind as you were shuffling? And 90% of the time that's a yes. So, and then I'll continue the reading. That's another thing that I like to do in doing a Celtic Cross is I will read the very first card and I'll be like, yes or no. Like, is this making sense to you? And if the answer is yes, which most of the time it is, I was like, okay, cool. This is your reading then. And then I will proceed to read the rest of the cards. Make sense? So on the right-hand page, you have an example of a Celtic Cross. And that one is a 10 card Celtic Cross. You've got position 1. Let's see. I wish I have this in presentation mode so I can go through with my cursor and like circle different things. But I don't know if I can. Let's see. Can people see my cursor? Let's see. Can I mark it? Can I do that? So that's number 1. Crossing card is number 2. I'm just going to look quickly. Oh, yeah, that works. It's not pretty, but it'll work. So I'm going to go through all of the positions, all of the meanings. Cool. So Jenny's like, yes. And Fran says, I see it. Yes, I see it too. Good. Just want to make sure. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to mark all of this. And then I think I have a diagram on the next page, but let me just go through this off the top of my head, because it's just easier for me to teach that way, because the Celtic Cross is so ingrained in my mind and like my muscle memory that it's just easier for me to just explain it as I see it. Okay. So first card, and that's first card, not significator. That's just present situation, is card number 1 that I circled there. And it looks like in this example reading, card number 1 is the 7 of Cups. The crossing card is card number 2, which is laid on top. So card number 1 is going to be vertical. Card number 2, the crossing card is going to be laid on top of the first card horizontally. So it forms a cross, the cross in the Celtic Cross. And it looks like in this example, the crossing card is the Three of Cups. Very, geez, interesting. I don't, this is just an example, mind you. This is the design, or, the image that the designer of my book decided to go with. Very pretty. I don't know if it's a real reading or not, though, but super cupsy energy, super emotional energy there. Having the Seven of Cups and then the Three of Cups crossing it. Depending on your sensibility, you could either go one of two ways. You could have number 3 be the top card, and that's kind of how I read it. So number 3 is higher self, or what's the crowning card, what's crowning the situation. Number 4 is subconscious, what your subconscious is telling you. Also dreams that filter into waking life. Number 5 is past influences. If it'll let me draw. There we go. Number 6, I see as the relationships card. Now that's where myself and other readers sometimes will differ. They'll see that as the near future. I was taught from the Legend, the Arthurian Tarot deck, little white book, that's relationships, how you're relating to people, how they're relating to you. Not necessarily a romantic card, but it could be, depending on what card pops up there. This is the 7th card here. This is psychological influences. 8th card is environment and unseen forces. 9th card is hopes and fears. And then the 10th and final card is the final outcome card. Not sure if anyone can see that. And I'm not saving any of these marks. There's a big old mess there. And some of you might not be able to see the psychological positions. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can do this side by side here. Yeah, there we go. So the 7th card is the 3 of Swords reversed. So that's psychological positions right there. Let me switch things over. Back again. Fantastic. Cool. And Katie is here. Katie is watching from YouTube today. That's probably a good idea, considering we had a bunch of people get spammed in the Book of Face. So, and Susan is here. Hi, just followed you and love some cards from South Wales. Welcome. Welsh. What's up? My maiden name is Perry, which is a Welsh name. I am English, Scottish, and Welsh. My family's mostly from Liverpool, England, straight off the plane. So, holla. So, Susan, we're not up to the mid-episode reading yet, but please feel free to stay tuned. You may be eligible to win a free 3-card reading with me live here on the broadcast. Fran's saying hi to Katie. Love it. Love new viewers. All right. So that in the nutshell is how I read the Celtic Cross. Now, moving on to the next page, where I made a right mess. That's a beautiful deck there. So yeah, on the next page we have the grand question: will you use a significator? Long story short, I don't. Yes, exactly. See, and I want to like, and this is the reason why I would recommend, like there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with learning a different way. This is completely different from what I learned as Celtic Cross from 6 and 7. Exactly. And that's the reason why I started the episode saying that. I learned the Celtic Cross from Anna Marie Ferguson's Legend, the Arthurian Tarot Little White Book. That's where I learned it from. And this is from memory, so it may or may not have been exactly that, but those are the positional meanings that I've used for years now, and they haven't steered me wrong yet. So sometimes, if the six card, if like the position number 6 card tends to be future leaning, I will switch things up and I will say, oh, okay, so this is more near future than relationships. But I don't know. I would say experiment, see what works for you, but the way that I read Celtic Cross, like it's what works for me. So your mileage may vary, and that is completely fine. So I will make sure to drop in Teresa Reed's series on the Celtic Cross, because I think it'll be really, really helpful to read that in conjunction with viewing this particular workshop episode on the Celtic Cross. So, like, I might be flouting authority or the authority of the ages by not using significators, but like I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't find them to be useful. It's just not my jam. So I say that basically in my book. If you're doing a Celtic Cross, decide whether or not you'll be doing a 10 card or an 11 card spread. This is the choice of using significators. It's often chosen on purpose by looking at a deck face up, describing personality traits of the client, and making the choice of card based on that. In the past, significator cards were chosen by using physical appearance or age, and often used the court cards. Choosing a significator card by physical appearance seems to be an outdated practice, and many modern tarot readers using significators will choose them based on personality traits and in conversation with the client. And I personally don't use significators, allowing the tarot to guide me by shuffling and using the first card pulled as both a significator and a present moment card. So with a significator, 11 card Celtic Cross with a significator, position 1 is the significator, position 2 is the present moment, position 3 is the crossing card, obstacles and assets, position 4 is the crowning card above the cards placed above positions 1 through 3. Message from higher self, or what your best self would tell you in this situation. Position 5 is below the subconscious mind, and message from dreams that filter into waking life may also be a base issue of the reading. So yeah, this diagram here in purple shows the 10 card Celtic Cross without the significator, and that's the only difference, basically. So Katie says 6 for me was future influences. Yeah, near future influences. Which could be a person or energy situation. Yeah. Not that far off from other readers at all. 7 was the near future, and sometimes can be the conclusion situation of the reading, especially when the final outcome, number 10, is a bit too desired or unwanted. Yes. And we also have another episode where I talk about the undesired final outcome card and what to do about the undesired final outcome card. And I call it the bridge technique, where you take the undesired final outcome card, you then go through the deck face up, and you find a card that is more to your desired outcome. you choose that intentionally, and then you flip the deck back over and you shuffle it up, and then you place the card that would be the how to get from the undesired final outcome card to the desired final outcome card, and what to do. Basically, a one card advice reading on how to get from there to there. So that's an episode that I know for a fact that we did a workshop on, and is in the replays. Because it happens so much. It happens so much that it was just like, and I don't remember, like, was it channeled or something? Yeah. So Katie says that was an awesome episode doing the bridging. Yeah. And I keep on trying to give credit away for that bridge spread, because I could have sworn that it was either Mary Greer that taught me it, Rachel Pollack that taught me it, maybe Nooch that taught me it. And I don't know. I've gone from that person to person and asked them, did you teach me this? Was this something that you taught in one of the classes that you've done? And they were just like, no, but that sounds awesome. And I'm just like, okay, like, what happened? Did I channel this? Like, I don't get it. So I gave credit to a whole bunch of people, but I still haven't identified who it was or whether it was just completely channeled. So position 6, past influences. So basically, the difference between the 11 card and the 10 card is, you know, the numbering will change, but this is the reason why I usually teach the Celtic Cross as a 10 card spread, because that's how I read it. I don't use a significator. And if you do use a significator, you just add on by one. So instead of the position 1 being the current situation, or you and your current situation, it would be the significator, and then move the positional meanings back by 1. Um, so and I say that in the book too. Below is how I read the Celtic Cross for myself and with clients. So position number 1 is the current situation, or you in your current situation. I am paying attention to whether or not there's a major arcana in that spot, whether or not there's a court card in that spot, whether or not it's like a freaking 3 of swords in that spot. I am paying attention to what that first card is, because that first card is going to tell me a lot. It's going to tell me a lot about the reading and the general theme of the reading, like what it's going to be. Um, so let me just go through the positions as I was saying, even though I think I just did it before. So yeah, current situation. Position number 2, crossing card laid over the first card. If it's a positive card, it's an asset to the situation. If it's a negative card, or considered to be a negative card, it's an obstacle to the situation. And oftentimes it's both. Here's your assets, here's your obstacles. Position number 3 is message from higher self, or what your best self would tell you in the situation. Sometimes I have gotten messages from spirits, or messages from spirit guides, or their guardian angels, or even dead relatives, as happened before, where the Celtic Cross turned into something different entirely, and it ended up being card number 1 was the person, and cards, let's see, 5, 3, and 6 ended up not being the past, the higher self, and wrote relationships positions. It ended up being 3 people that was surrounding that person, 3 people that had passed on in her life. And I was just like, sometimes you have to change it up, and you have to give the reading that's coming through, even if the spread is, a specific spread with positional meanings. It's just like, sometimes it needs to be read a different way, and your intuition will speak up and tell you so. And in that particular case, I was just like, oh, no, 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 this is not past. This is not past. This is not future. This is not relationships. This is, there are three. There are three people that are coming forward to protect you and are like basically your guardian angels. And, client verified for me that that was so. So this tarot reading is, this tarot, professional tarot readings are a weird, weird thing, but what are you going to do? It happens. So, um, So, message from higher self, what your best self would tell you in the situation. That's position number 3. Position number 4 is subconscious or messages from dreams that filter into waking life or the root of a situation. I am paying super, super attention to position number 4 because it can also be kind of a foundation to like what is going on, what the problem is, what the root of the situation is, because it's the base of the Celtic Cross. So it can be, in some instances, not just dreams that filter into waking life. It could be baseline what's going on in the situation, where this has taken root from. Again, use your best judgment, use your intuition. Also, look at the card that's coming up there. I am paying a lot of attention if position number 4 is the nightmare card, what I like to call the nightmare card, the 9 of Swords. I'm paying super attention if that card comes up in that position. I'm just like, ooh, you've been having nightmares. What's been going on? Like this situation has just been like, you've gotten no rest because you're just like, you're trying to figure it out. And it's just like, even in dreams, you haven't been getting restful sleep because your brain's trying to figure it out. So pay attention when you have the guideposts of a tarot spread and those positional meanings, because it really is a combination of, here is the general meaning when this card comes up, but plus this positional meaning equals something new and different. Like this is your way of, this is like your toolkit to help you interpret these cards and what they mean. Now, number five. Oh, cool. I can still use the cursor here. I'm not going to, though. Number 5, where the cursor is, that is, I've never really seen anybody differ on that positional meaning. It's past influences. Like most readings include past influences. A lot of them include past influences. And when you see the links that I'm going to give you from Teresa Reed's deep dive on the Celtic Cross, you're going to see basically the power of the Celtic Cross comes in the combinations. Like the first card, that's a 1-card reading. 1 and 2, the first card and the crossing card, that's a 2-card reading. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That can be a 4-card reading. The 3 cards that go across, past influences, present, and future. Like the last 4 cards of the Celtic Cross can be, I kind of call it the future line, because like you're like each card is like a stepping stool up to the final outcome card. So sometimes I'll call that the future line, even though it's technically not the future line. The positional meanings say a little bit of a different story than that. But in a 10-card reading, there are different opportunities and there are different mini readings within the 10 cards of the Celtic Cross. But past influences is there to be read, basically because most of the time the past gives rise to the present gives rise to the future. Position number 6, relationships and how people are relating to you and you to them in the situation. How can you get along with people can also be read as in your future. I did include that I did include that in the book. I had to. A lot of people have told me that they read it that way. So I was just like, that's also an option. That's also an option. But most of the time, I read it as relationships. Position number 7 is psychological influences or mental state. Position number 7. Position number 8 is environment or unseen forces. So that can be read as either or both. And I kind of read environment and unseen forces as both. It's just like, here's your environment, here's like the general state of things going on, but here's something that you may not be aware of that's also going on. That's the unseen forces part. Like if I see a positive card in that position, like maybe the Page of Cups, where it's just like, oh, there is someone in the mix here that wants to support you and wants to be emotionally supportive of you. They just don't know how, or they're immature, or they're trying to reach out to you, but they're not doing a great job of it, or they're just not sure how. That's the kind of thing that you can see in the environment and unseen forces position. Now, position number 9 is hopes and fears. So read very similarly to the crossing card, where if it's a positive card, it's a hope. If it's a negative card, it's a fear. And oftentimes it's kind of both. Like, here's what you hope for. Here's what you're fearing about the situation. Not necessarily what's going to happen. It basically is your imagination run amok, is what the position 9 is. Where it's just like, here's the best case scenario, here's the worst case scenario. And then finally, position 10 is final outcome card. What is the most likely final outcome card given the pattern of the reading and what's going on currently? So as you can see, it can be a really great spread to use as a general snapshot. And it's the most likely outcome based on current pattern of the situation. My positional meanings may be different from what you see, so please use what works for you. And experiment. Please feel free to experiment as well. I frequently return to the Celtic Cross for snapshot readings when a client has an issue or subject they want a reading on, but that has many threads that tie to other areas of their life. And there's another one. When we look at the Celtic Cross, you may notice that there are a few mini spreads within the larger spread, from the line of cards running toward the final outcome card, cards 7 through 10, to the mini cross of cards 1 and 2. If you're having difficulty, don't take the the 10 cards of the Celtic Cross, because it's just like, you're not going to be able to swallow the whole thing. If you're having difficulty, take it down bite by bite, piece by piece. Take each of the mini spreads in turn before tackling the interpretation of the whole spread. And my formula for interpretation, and this is true not just for the Celtic Cross, but for many different tarot spreads, you take the positional meaning, plus the card's meaning, plus the context in the surrounding cards, plus the original question or situation in order to get a whole interpretation. Any questions so far? Because the mid-episode reading might be the 3/4 into the episode reading, because I don't want to lose the flow of teaching this. And you're not going to be able to learn this in one session of the live stream. You're just not. This is going to take time. This is going to take time. It's going to take practice. You're going to be shit at it before you get good at it. So Katie says, 8 I've used as what is around the situation that the person can't see, right? Unseen forces. And sometimes it actually helps everyone, including the reader, what is going on. Sometimes this card can be the most revealing. Yeah. Yeah, it can be really revealing. And sometimes you'll get a card that it's just like, I don't want to say, it's just like the kind of like the equivalent of the magic 8 ball, outlook hazy, ask again later. And so, you can feel free to pull cards on top of the Celtic cross at those different positional meanings to clarify. It's just like, oh, okay, well, I'm seeing this card in unseen forces and environments, and I'm not quite sure what this means. So let's pull a card to clarify. And then you get another card, and it could either make it worse, which is absolutely possible. Sometimes we pull too many cards. And sometimes we, just like I would say pull cards, clarifying cards sparingly, just to get like a little bit more of a sense of the context, because sometimes it can be a clarification and sometimes it could make it worse, make it hazier. So, um, Jenny says, no, this is fascinating. Awesome. Cool. And he says, I tried doing it for a friend and it was real and really was shit at it. You got to practice. You're not going to like, please. I there was so I think I've spoken about this before. My ex was a tarot reader, very good tarot reader actually, and every so often he would ask me to read his cards, and I would try, and I would end up crying. I would just cry because the thing that I was not good at was tying it all together, tying these 10 separate cards and separate messages into one cohesive summary or story. And that comes with practice. That comes with practice, that comes with time, that comes with flow. And actually, this is a really good segue into the next thing that I wanted to mention, which is pattern recognition. So this works pretty well for a bunch of different tarot spreads. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Celtic Cross, but the Celtic Cross lends itself very well because you've got 10 cards. So I say search for patterns. While providing an interpretation for each individual card in the Celtic Cross can be illuminating on its own, taking a step back and looking at the spread as a whole will allow you to see if any patterns are emerging and will help you to summarize the reading. So this is my tip. Searching for patterns is my tip to be able to start to summarize or start to create a more cohesive interpretation story around your readings. This is my tip, and it's going to be stilted at first. It's going to be stilted. I know we want to like skip over the discomfort as quickly as possible. It's going to be stilted at first, and this was my problem and my sticking point, where it's like I would interpret each individual card in its positional meaning, but when it came time to summarize, I would be like, I can't do it, and I would cry. And there's no solution for that except doing it. But one of my tips is searching for the patterns. See, this is a good point here. Stephanie says, I typically stick to 3 card readings, and it's been a long time since I've done a Celtic Cross. This is giving me the push to try again. Yes, try again, Stephanie. Please try again. Because like you've got a 3-card reading right in the center of the Celtic Cross. Like you're just add on 7 more cards. You're almost there. So look for major arcana cards. A majority of major arcana cards in a 10-card Celtic Cross reading may indicate the power or importance of the reading. Could be when I see a lot of major arcana cards in a Celtic Cross that I'm doing for a client, I'm just like, this is a sit up and pay attention kind of reading. And I will also say, oh, I get it now. This is the reason why you contacted me for a reading. I'm just like, okay, like 5 out of the 10 cards are major arcana cards, which statistically, I don't know the numbers. I'm not great at math, so I don't know the probability of that, but the probability of that, it's pretty low. So it's a statistical anomaly, which makes it significant. If 5 out of the 10 cards of a 78 card tarot deck are coming up as major arcana cards, that is sit up and pay attention ratio of cards. So I pay attention to how many major arcana cards are coming up and what they are and where they're placed. That's pattern recognition, baby. All right. A majority of a suit, like wands, like cups, like pentacles, like swords, may indicate what is in abundance in the reading, and missing suits, what might be lacking in the reading. And I've taught this concept before, about like what it's saying, what missing cards are saying when they're not there. Like if I'm doing a love reading and I don't see cups anywhere, I'm going to be really, really nervous about that. I'm not going to be happy about that, because I'm just like, ooh, like, is this relationship built to last? Same thing with pentacles. If I don't see a lot of pentacles in a relationship reading, I'm just like, okay, where's the foundation that this relationship is built upon? If I don't see wands, where's the sexual tension? Where's the sex drive? What's going on? Where's the spark? And if I don't see swords, it could be either you fight a lot or you don't fight for the things that matter. So again, all hypothetical examples there. But this is what I'm talking about when I talk about searching for patterns in readings. So not only am I looking for an abundance of suits or missing suits, I'm also looking for numbers too. If there's a lot of 2s, if there's a lot of 3s, if there's a lot of 4s, I'm going to pull numerology into that shit and be like, oh, okay, a lot of 4s. All right, there's stability here. But you're not quite halfway there yet. If there's a lot of 9s, you're close. You're close to finishing. If there's 10s, depends on what the 10 is. If it's 10 of swords, I'm like, okay. If it's 10 of pentacles or 10 of cups, different story. Like, we all want to get the 10 of cups in the final outcome card. Do we rarely get it? Do we often get it? Probably not. But again, this episode can be used in conjunction with the bridge method. If you get a final outcome card that you're not a fan of, you can use the bridge method to find out the how to get from there to there. All right. Any questions? Because like between the chapter from my book and off the top of my head, like I don't know if I have anything else to say. It's a lot. And I have to remember not to save this markup. Don't save. Thank you. Not that it matters. Not that it matters now that the book has been out there for over a year, but I'd like to save my my first PDF. Oh, that's cool. Stephanie says, at least when I did get the 10 of cups, it came true. That's awesome. Everyone wants that happily ever after card. All right, let me put my microphone down. Hefty boy. I don't know if I like it or dislike it. But let me put this down and let me get you those links that I was mentioning from the Tarot Lady. The Celtic Cross. Let's specify. And if I was feeling really ambitious, I would do the mid-episode reading and do a Celtic Cross for you guys to see it in action. But that's too long. Too long. Search Celtic Cross. There's a ton of less. Wow, wow, wow. So speaking of bite-sized, all right, let me show you this. So share screen. So you want to go to thetarotlady.com /breaking Celtic Cross. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that into the chat for you. Really great resource here. So, and she says it right here. You've seen the famed Celtic Cross spread in many books. You've maybe even given it a whirl, but found yourself struggling to make it work. Or maybe you've never tried it because it seems just so darn confusing. And Teresa said, this is the first spread I ever attempted. Yes, I like to start out the hard way. Yeah. Use it as an opening spread or general outlook for the year ahead. I use it to get more detailed information on the question. I get it. I want you to get it too. So there's a ton of lessons here. Lesson 1 is laying it out. Lesson 2 is the mini cross. Lesson 3 is the past position. Lesson 4, the recent past position. Lesson 5, the possible outcome. Lesson 6, the near future. Lesson 7, the self position. Lesson 8, the environment position. Lesson 9, the hopes and fears position. And lesson 10, the outcome. Lesson 11 is scan and count. Lesson 12 is the threes. Lesson 13 is the fours. Lesson 14, karmic patterns. Lesson 15 is sample reading. And lesson 16 is the storyboard tarot size. And 17 is the memento tarot size. And then there's more additional resources. So, you know what? I am going to skip right over to the sample reading because I'm curious. I'm also curious about additional resources. So Stephanie says, Teresa is such a wonderful teacher. I was so sad when she stopped tarot bites. Yeah, I mean, there's been it's interesting because, you know, astrology bites, tarot bites, you know, they had their shelf life. They had their time. And I think she knew starting it like that she was only going to do it for a certain time and then stop. Like she was going to stop after however many episodes. And the same thing can be said for, you know, her readings, readings for the public, and how she was closing down her books and not offering public readings or one-on-one sessions anymore because she was focusing on her writing career. And now she has, I don't know, how many books? How many books does Teresa have at this point? T-Thug, what you got going on? Is it 9? Is it 10 at this point? But there were a lot of people that were really, really upset. Um, and like even angry and about not being able to book a session with her. And I've seen it from both angles. And it's lovely to be one of the people that she recommends for readings, since she does not do readings anymore. Like she'll refer me, she'll refer V of Red Light Reading. She'll give referrals, depending on who it is that's seeking out a reading. She'll like I think she sometimes intuitively like knows. It's just like, oh, this person would be a good match for this person. Okay, I'm gonna send them your way. Um, but it's allowing people to evolve and sometimes evolve past what we love them for, can be a hard pill to swallow, you know. Like people were very upset with me that I stopped doing tarot rap on the artist formerly known as Twitter. Um, but at the same time, it's just like people weren't attending, and they were also not able to attend on the times that I would be able to host it. So I was just like, I gotta release this. I can't do this anymore for zero participation or ungratefulness. I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was sad about it, but at the same time, I also got permission from Teresa to end it when I was ready to end it, because it was originally her baby. That was what she did, and then I inherited it from her. So yeah, yeah, and you can still get a lot of value. I'm glad she's thriving. Just got a lot of value from her show. Yeah, I've definitely gone back and listened to different episodes. I was so honored when she had me on Tarot Bites for missing cards, because that was actually a blog that I did, a guest blog that I did for her. Um, and that concept was also used in Courtney Weber's book Tarot for One: The Art of Reading for Yourself. Um, so the concept about missing cards and having that give you information, I was honored that people were so interested in that concept. So, and then we also had another like dueling blog posts about what it's really like reading as a full-time tarot professional and a part-time tarot professional. um, bunch of similar things. And you can still see that. You can still check that out on my website, tarotbyhilary.com, and on Teresa's website, thetarotlady.com. All right, let's check out let's see, where is it? The example reading from tab. Lesson 15. Let's try. Okay, so sample reading. Very curious. All right, in this post, I'm going to show a sample interpretation of the Celtic Cross. I will be as brief as possible. Woo! Let's use our example from the previous lessons. We've decided that our querent is ready to move on after her divorce and wants to know what's in store for love. So, here are the cards. Hopefully you can see all of them. Oh, good, I can see all of them, but I will go ahead and name all of them. So, looks like it's the Two of Swords in the present position. The Empress card, no, sorry, not the Empress card, the Strength card. Yay. The Strength card in the Crossing card. The Sun card, position 3. The Tower for position 4. Three of Swords reversed for past influences. Ace of Wands. I'm not sure how she interprets that positional meaning, so we'll come back to that. Ace of Wands for position 6. The Magician card for position 7, the 7 of Swords for position 8. Ooh, I do not like that. I don't like the Hopes and Fears card either, or my interpretation of the Hopes and Fears card. Number 9, 10 of Swords, yikes. But the final outcome card, number 10, is the Lovers. So based on everything that we just talked about and how I interpret the Celtic Cross, or what I see as the positional meanings, does anyone want to give some thoughts before we dive into what Teresa says or how she would read it? Or do we want to break for the mid-episode reading first? Because I've got my reflected tarot right here. Never a good sign, by the way, when the tarot reader is like, ooh, that's not good. I try not to do that to people, by the way. I try not to be like, I try to have a poker face on. Or I will read the card immediately when I say something like that. But some of the cards are just so obvious in their imagery that it's just like, you can't help but know, like, that's not a great card. Like the Tower card, the 10 of Swords, the 3 of Swords, 7 of Swords don't look so good either. I agree with you, Fran. So feel free to put your thoughts. and then we've got Jenny. Mid-episode, please. Stephanie says, having gone through a painful divorce, this looks all too familiar. Yeah. I'm going to tend towards Fran and say, let's keep moving so we stay on track. The mid-episode reading will happen. It just won't be mid. But yeah, if this is the client coming to us asking about the prospects of love after the divorce, I feel like things still need to be worked through before that possibility of love can actually happen. Like, this feels very much like still in the past. But let's see what Teresa had to say. So the first order of business is to scan the spread and look for the majorities. I noticed the 5 majors, a sign that big changes are happening in the current's life. I agree with that. With over half of the cards being majors, it's possible that she's also working through some important karmic lessons about relationships. All right, that's really weird that this example reading is a 5 majors. Wasn't I saying that before? 5 out of 10 majors, like, big deal, statistical impossibility. Figures, right? It figures that the sample reading would be exactly my example off the top of my head. Anyway, it's possible that she's also working through some important karmic lessons about relationships. I also see a lot of swords. Challenges are afoot. Before she reaches her destination, there are things that need to be sorted out. Next, I notice my favorite pattern: the past, the near future, and the likely outcome. This shows me where she's coming from and where she's headed. The Tower alerts me that she's been through a massive deconstruction of her life, the divorce. The Ace of Wands shows a rebirth. Okay. Ace of Wands shows a rebirth and new opportunities. The Lovers shows a relationship is ahead. In short, she's been through a tough breakup, but she's put it behind her. She's ready for a fresh start, and most likely will be taking initiative, because the Ace of Wands can symbolize an opportunity, but also taking charge to create change. Then that initiative should lead to the outcome she desires. Now, starting from the bottom, as I said before, the Tower in the past position indicates that her life has gone through a massive shakeup. Oh, interesting. So the Tower That's past influences. Hmm. Indicates that her life has gone through a massive shakeup. The foundation she has carefully built was destroyed, which meant she had to start completely over from scratch. It's possible that the divorce came out of the blue. She may not have been expecting it. And even if she had, there was something shocking about it. Wow, reverse Three of Swords in the near past position. I get. Oh, okay, I get it. Shows that she has taken some work, time to work on her healing. After the storm hit, she needed a timeout to grieve the loss of her marriage. It seems that this process is finally moving behind her. The Two of Swords sits in the present position, which means she's getting ready to make some new decisions about her life. This may have to do with re-entering the dating scene. Starting over is never easy, especially after a divorce. She's going into this cautiously and not knowing what to expect. With the Strength as her obstacle, I see this combo as her being fearful of making the wrong decision. I see that too. After working so hard to heal and get her strength back, she may be concerned about losing herself in a relationship. These two cards can also be seen as her not being 100% ready because she is still finding her own power. I'm seeing that. I see that in that combination. After working so hard, yeah, either way, the energy shows a bit of conflict and a desire to protect her heart. Swords crossed over her heart chakra, and the line is connected to Leo, which rules the heart. Next, I swing my attention to the card that symbolizes her. It's the Magician. So Magician symbolizing her, I believe, would be a psychological position for me. This is a great card to see. It indicates that she's able to stand in her power at this time. Even though there are reservations present within the previous two cards, it's not going to get in the way of her manifesting a new relationship. She's focused on what she wants. Her environment card, I'm a little concerned. Her environment card is the Seven of Swords, which I see two ways. For one, it reinforces the vibe of caution. She begins to step out of her comfort zone into the dating world. But two, it's also a card of theft, which means she maybe needs to be careful to not rush into things. It's possible that some of the people who may show up in her dating life may be creeps or not who they say they are. A bit of caution will serve her well and help her to sidestep potential problems. In Hopes and Fears position, we also see another from the sword suit, the Ten of Swords. To me, this says a fear of betrayal, but also the hope of a fresh start. Mixed emotions, which seem pretty reasonable, is still brand new. I don't see this fear part as getting in the way of love happening. It's just another layer to the cautious vibe she's feeling. And I also get that. I understand that when, again, that Hopes and Fears card, it's just like, it's not necessarily what's going to happen. It's just like, it's kind of the mindset, like where that person is at. What their best case scenario is, what their worst case scenario is. Gives the flavor to the reading. Looking to the top of the reading, we see the sun as the potential. This is a good omen indeed. It seems to say, although you need to be cautious, expect lots of fun. Once she starts putting herself out there, she may enjoy herself quite a bit. So that's message from higher self, the way I read Celtic Cross. But to Teresa, that's the potential card, the potential of the situation, the sun card. Let's see. Near future, we have the Ace of Wands. Now, the Ace of Wands is one of my hell yeah cards in the tarot deck, a sign that things are definitely looking up. It's a symbol of new beginnings and a passionate one at that. Notice the fire energy here with the sun, the Strength card, and now the Ace of Wands. The love life is going to be heating up soon. There are still some cards that signal caution in this reading. This Ace says go for it. The opportunity for love and passion are on the way. With the Lovers as the likely outcome, it's a good bet she'll be meeting someone significant. A relationship is in the cards and looks like it has the potential to be significant and positive. This reading seems to say you've gone through a lot, but ahead is the new relationship you desire. You can proceed with confidence, trusting in the universe and your own judgment. Let's lay out the majors to explore the karmic lesson and patterns. Lesson, strength, learning to overcome the challenges and stand in her own power. Position, the Tower. The old is falling away. direction, the sun, reflection, the magician, and the lovers. The worst is behind her, and love is ahead. The romantic forecast is bright. So I would probably interpret this a little bit differently. Just saying. Um, but I would probably interpret the lovers card. It's just like, yes, I think it's just like this, like now's the time to have fun. If I was reading for this client, I would basically come to similar conclusions, but I would state it in a little bit of a different way. Like, for example, having the lovers card come up, like, not a huge fan of the lovers card coming up if this client is looking for a new long-term relationship. Because I see the lovers more about like Mr. Right now versus Mr. Right. But if they're proceeding with caution and they're playing the field and they're not looking for something serious right now, then this reading looks very positive. And I would probably be a little bit more crass in my interpretation and say the best way to get over someone is to get under someone else. That's kind of just what I'm seeing. Yes, exactly. See, could just mean she's going to have some fun between the sheets. Yeah. I mean, I will say that when people come to me for a reading, they typically they know what I'm about. They know that I'm going to give the answer that they need to hear, not necessarily the answer that they want to hear. I am that type of reader. I try not to be cruel about it. I try to be kind. I try to be sensitive in my interpretations, but I'm not going to say something is in the cards when it's not in the cards. So, am I the best reader for a love reading? Probably not, unless, of course, you've got a thick skin and you're looking for tough love, basically. Because I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing the tough love reading. Like, it's like, you can hate me. You can hate me right now, but you'll often come back. Just like, hate me in the moment all you want to, but 2 months down the road when you're calling me for another reading, like, that's the proof. And I really did think that was a weakness. That my unwillingness to sugarcoat. I thought it was a weakness. And in fact, it's a strength. Now I'm wondering if we did an episode on the Celtic Cross and card slingers. I think we did. Did we? You guys know card slingers better than me, so. Yeah, Stephanie says, and sometimes the deck makes it even more brutally honest instead of softer or gentler. Like, good luck to anyone that's getting a romance reading using the Witch Sister Tarot deck. Oh boy. What, did we do a Celtic Cross episode on the Celtic Cross? I think so. Card slingers. I'm looking. Yes? No? I don't remember. Probably. Maybe. I don't know. Does anyone want to add in? Yeah, we could have. Yeah, I feel like it might have been one list was out for some reason. It could have been that. Yeah, that was around 2022 into early 2023, I believe. Does anyone have anything to add on to for this particular sample reading? Anything you want to add on about Celtic Cross, the Celtic Cross spread? Any questions that you have before we move into the mid-episode reading or the 3/4 of an episode reading? And let me do my settings and update that. All right. All right. I have the keyword. So is this a different spread in your book? No, I don't think so. From Teresa's, definitely, yes. Me, I went through the earlier PDF version, but it's just like, but it is the positional meanings are exactly the same. Because that's how I do it. Aha, ha ha ha, thank you. Episode 37 discusses Celtic Cross for a bit. Consider we're almost up to our 100th episode. It's hard to keep track of them. Also, before we get into the 3/4 of an episode reading, just a reminder, please subscribe wherever you're seeing this, follow, like, click the bell for notifications, share it, etc. Thank you. Please and thank you. All right. Comment snake, lottery jar, and your keyword to be considered for live reading. Comment Celtic in the chat. You use that word and you will be entered into the mid-episode reading, where I will pull 3 cards on a question. It's my compromise when people would keep on showing up to these live streams, asking, pull a card for me, pull a card for me, pull a card for me, do a reading for me, pull a card for me. It's just like, lots of freebie seekers, which I don't mind, but like demanding freebie seekers that don't want to take no for an answer, it's just like, not a huge fan. All right, Jenny is entered to win the mid-episode reading. And let me put the countdown timer on too. We'll keep it going for about 3 minutes. 3 minutes and 33 seconds. So our new people here that was asking, can I pull a card? Can I pull a card? Now's the time. Now's the time if you're still tuned in. Susan was asking, I think Nahal was asking. So now's the time. Now's the time to comment Celtic and be entered to win. And if you don't win this week, you just have to tune in again next week. That's very kind. Good luck to whomever needs it most. I don't know. At this point, it might be Jenny. Jenny's got no competition. Well, Jenny never has any competition because Jenny's cool. And I'm just double checking to make sure there wasn't more spamming going on. Looks like no. Did that work? Please tell me that worked. I literally had to just remove my camera. Can you hear me and see me now? All right, good, good. Because sometimes it doesn't show me what's going on at all. It's just like I think everything's fine, and then it's not fine. I'm glad I didn't have to restart the entire thing. I just had to remove my camera source and then put it back in again, and it seemed to rectify it. So good to know that that's the way that I can do it. Okay, so I know that was a little bit panic inducing there. So I just went ahead and picked the winner because it was Jenny the entire time in there. So and I have a burning question. So ask your burning question. Yeah, I know. Like you can see everything else. You can see all of the oh gosh, the fanciness, the Be Live studio fanciness, but you just couldn't see my camera, my web camera source. So I removed it, I put it back. It seemed to do the trick. Thankfully. Anyway, so and we should be back on both. We should be back on the Book of Face and the Tube of You. It was not a Book of Face thing. It was not a Tube of You thing. It was just the web camera stopped. I don't know why. Anyway, so I know that Jenny has a burning question. You are indeed the winner of this week's mid-episode reading. So go ahead and put your burning question into the chat. I will go ahead and pull 3 cards from the Reflective Tarot to answer your question. And hopefully the feed will not cut out this time. And then I'm going to beg Mr. Tarot by Hilary for dinner because I think he's making burgers tonight. So I'm very excited about that. We went to the grocery store. We didn't have our regular appointment, Friday appointment. So we went over to the grocery store and we went over to like get our coins counted because we had so many coins that we had in like different jars and everything that we'd been gathering for years. And one of our local supermarket has the coin counting thing where it just like spits out the money and you get the slip of paper and then you go to the cashier. And so we buy groceries with that and then we get the difference. And so that was the second time we did it today. And then we also realized that there was a really nice little liquor store next door and there's a guy there giving samples. And so did we anticipate spending money on a cognac, I think, tonight? No. Did we? Yes. So I might make myself a cocktail to go with dinner or after dinner. So anywho, all right. Shuffling the cards, Jenny says, for her mid-episode reading, there's a man I'm possibly interested in, but pretty sure our political beliefs are not in total alignment. If we move forward, how best to navigate this? All right, you do remember that I was just saying I am not the best person for this type of reading, or maybe I am the best person for this type of reading. So, and David is here. Hello from Canada, new here. Welcome to David. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're just in time to witness the mid-episode reading. All right. Shuffling the deck. And I think the tarot is going to give us everything that we need to know tonight. And then I have a feeling also that the weekend forecast may be applicable not only for everybody, but also in conjunction with this reading. So I would say pay attention to both, Jenny. I think both are going to be for you. So shuffling, shuffling, shuffling. How best to navigate if we move forward. You know, it's not as bad as you think it is. I think there's, you're okay. Let's put it this way: your political beliefs are never going to be in total alignment with somebody else. Like, I mean, I was just mentioning Mr. Tarot by Hilary. Like, he is very socially conservative, not as wait. Pull it back a little bit. He's definitely more liberal now. I have affected him or infected him over the last 16 years that we've been together, 8 years of which we've been married. So he has expanded his beliefs, not because I forced him, but because it's just the interactions we've had together and the conversations we've had and the people that are in my circle that he might not have experienced or gotten to know otherwise. And from that, the expansion happened. But can I 100% say that our political beliefs are not in total alignment? Absolutely, they're not. You're not going to find anyone that has completely total alignment with your beliefs. Forget about political beliefs, any kind of beliefs. So there is that knowledge, right? That it's never going to be in total alignment. But here's the reason why I'm saying, like, the cards are actually quite kind in this scenario. You're getting the 7 of Cups, you're getting the 9 of Pentacles reversed, and you're getting the 2 of Pentacles. So to me, it's like, it's very in flow. It's very easy. It's very peaceable in a way. Like, I'm not getting a sense of like, from these cards, especially the 7 of Cups. The 7 of Cups to me it's a very cerebral kind of card for a Cups, like the air and the possibilities and the ideas. It's a very swordsy kind of Cups card. But having that energy, it's just like, the 7 of Cups to me is your ability and perhaps his ability to see things from many different sides, many different angles, not necessarily in a devil's advocate kind of way, but more like, oh yeah, I could see that. Oh yeah, okay. No, well, I'm open to that possibility. So there is more of a flexibility there. And I think that is also an answer to your question as well. How best to navigate this is, you know, there's that, right? It's having this flexibility, having this flow, having this willingness to see things in different ways, right? But with the 9 of Pentacles being reversed here, it's just like, there has to be a conversation on, here are my deal breakers, or here are the things that I'm not willing to debate. Here are the things where it's just like, I'm not willing to see another side in this particular scenario. Like, it's like kind of like the thing about like, oh, well, you know, gosh, how do I put it? It's just like, I'm not willing to debate my rights, or I'm not willing to debate like someone's basic right or need to live and thrive. Like, that's something that's not up for debate for me. You know, it's just like the right to live and love and be happy and love who I choose. Like, those things are not up to debate. Like, my you like racism or xenophobia, or it's just like, that's not up for debate for me. Dehumanizing people is not up for debate for me. So it is this kind of I wouldn't say walking on eggshells scenario, but it's more like have the flow of ideas, the openness of ideas, the willingness to discuss and see different perspectives, but also know where the boundaries are. Like I was just watching Taylor Tomlinson's new Netflix special, and she was asking advice from like past audiences that she's had, and there was a couple in the front row that apparently were both therapists. They were married to each other. They were both therapists, and so she asked, what is a piece of advice you could give, like if you and your partner are fighting, and they said, have a safe word. Have a safe word to stop a fight. Like any fight doesn't matter, but it's just like we're done fighting. Like we're not continuing this fight. And I thought that was rather brilliant in a way. And so I'm remembering that while seeing the Nine of Pentacles reversed here in conjunction with the Seven of Cups, where it's just like have a safe word, where it's just like yeah, if we're no, this political belief debate has turned unfriendly, and like pineapple. Pineapple, shenanigans, dragon fruit. So those are the two cards. And then you've got Two of Pentacles, balancing. And I think this is more of not necessarily advice card, but the possibility of it working. It's a balance. It's a juggling act. But also know the difference between a friendly debate, compromise, and walking on eggshells. You know the difference. You feel the difference. Let me know if that makes sense to you. And I feel like I'm hearing knocking. I don't know if Mr. Tarot by Hilary is I'm in the bedroom right now. So I don't know if Mr. Tarot by Hilary was like knocking on the bedroom door to try and get my attention. It's hard to tell sometimes. Oh, Garcon, I'm ready for my dinner. And hopefully my stream did not crap out on any of that. If it did, like, I don't know if I can give that same reading again. Hopefully you heard all of that. I'm going to just double check the tube of you to make sure. Awesome. Great. Perfect sense. Thank you so much. You're very, very welcome. I'm like hearing like banging going on. The beauty of noise canceling headphones. Awesome. So thank you, Jenny, for being the winner of the mid-episode reading. I know it's an act of vulnerability to be to receive a reading in a public space like a live stream. So I appreciate that vulnerability, and I hope the reading helped you. Again, a reminder to everyone that we do this every week at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays. Sometimes 6:45, sometimes 6:50. Definitely always Friday nights, Eastern Standard Time. And let's do the weekend forecast, because again, the weekend forecast is just like, Jenny, I don't think your reading is quite done yet. Just saying, I don't think it's done yet. So pay attention to the weekend forecast as well, because I feel like there is a certain something that also wants to be said through the weekend forecast and the Work Your Light Oracle deck. So let's see here. Right. Weekend forecast. So like I was saying at the top of the episode, I found it. I found the Work Your Light Oracle deck, and we're going to use it. And then I have a mess to clean up. All right, what do we need to know for this weekend? What is the Oracle deck trying to say to us this weekend? What do we need to know? Oof. Okay. It's coming for us because this was the deep card. It was on the bottom of the deck, and I shuffled thoroughly, and it's coming out on top now. So we are getting Break the Chain this weekend. Ancestral patterns, healing, and rewriting the future. What does that mean? Let's go to the guidebook. Don't know where it is. Ah, it's an action card. Okay. Makes sense. Break the chain. That's an action. All right. Break the chain. You are being called to heal your family line or free yourself from living the life of your ancestors. This could mean letting go of an old pattern of your maternal or paternal line. Healing trauma from the past that is not even yours, or observing old ways of being that no longer serve you. We carry emotional trauma in our luminous field for up to 7 generations back. This is why family patterns can be the hardest to break. Often they are not even ours to begin with. But we do not know another way of being, and so we continue playing out the drama. The thing to notice when ancestral healing comes up is that you cannot heal another person. But your own healing can cause another person to choose to heal. Energy is freed up. You are being guided now to look at your life and decide how you want it to be. What ways of being or patterns are you ready to free yourself from? What part of your future do you want to rewrite? Now is the time to shake them off and dream a new future into being. So the action step to go with this is, what old ways of being from your family line are you ready to let go of? Seek assistance from your support team, tribe, friends, healer, coach, etc., to begin freeing yourself from it now. And I think the cooking has begun. Either that or I'm delusional or just really hopeful. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Again, we do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. or 6:45 or 6:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let me know what you want to see in next week's episode. I was thinking of doing another Sacred Silliness, Jackbox games, streaming fun, where we play a couple of games from the Jackbox party packs. Because the last time we did it was over a year ago. So I was watching that episode and I was just like, should we do that tonight or should we do the Celtic Cross? And you have Mr. Tarot by Hilary to thank for the Celtic Cross workshop tonight, because he was just like, oh, well, isn't that what your people have come to expect of you, is teaching? And I'm just like, nah, you're right. But I kind of want to just play Jackbox games. So maybe we'll do that next week, or maybe we'll do something different. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. I also am an EFT tapping practitioner, certified in the Gala Darling method. So if you want a session for tarot, you can book with me. If you want a tapping session, you can book with me. And I am going to be producing a new tapping session on disappointment, because there was something that I really wanted this week, and I thought I had it. I was like convinced it was going to happen for me, and it didn't freaking happen. And so I was just like, okay, well, what lesson can I glean from that? And it's just like, oh, maybe you need to tap on the disappointment that you're feeling right now. And I'm like, oh crap. Okay. Jenny says, really appreciate you, Hilary. Jackbox would be amazing. Have a good weekend, everyone. Have a good weekend to you too. Good night. And thank you to Jenny, to Fran, to David, to Katie, to Sophia, to Stephanie, to who else was here? To Elizabeth, to I don't know who else was here, but I thank you all so much for watching. Even if you were just lurking, even if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you all. Once again, tarotbyhilary.com if you would like a book a reading with me, and have a wonderful night. I'll see you next week. Bye.